A warm welcome to our autumn Totum talks. I'm very pleased today to be joined by Stephen Allen of DLA Piper and Mark Smith of LexisNexis. They've both come along today to share some of their views on what is going on in a very changing and rapidly developing legal sector.
My name is Stephen Allen. I'm the Head of Market Strategies at DLA Piper. My role is international, which means I work with DLA globally, save for the Americas. My role is three-pronged. One is looking at how we position ourselves and how we price our work in the market. There's a lot of work around fixed pricing, right pricing, that sort of thing. The second part of my role is around making the firm more efficient, so process re-engineering the work we do today for clients so we can do that more effectively. And then the third part of the role is more long-term, which is what's our delivery model need to look like in 3 to 5 years' time.
So I'm Mark Smith from LexisNexis, and I'm the Market Development Director for large law firms, which means I am effectively the voice of the market, the voice of the customer within our business, and it's my job to really understand the market and know what's going on, know what our customers need. After I qualified, I practiced as a lawyer for 10 years. I worked in national and city firms and then moved in-house to an American outsourcing company where I looked after their international team. And after that, I did an MBA and moved into the business and then spent some time consulting with law firms and working for a legal process outsourcer before I joined LexisNexis.
Okay, so Stephen, what have you seen as the most fundamental changes that have been going on in the legal sector in the last couple of years?
I don't think we're yet to see them yet, actually. I think we're still kind of on the crest of the wave and waiting for the wave to crash back onto the beaches. We've seen some inroads, so lots of really cool and interesting technology is coming out now. It's been around for a while, but it was always kind of piecemeal, so you had a great solution for a particular problem. And I think what we're now starting to see are people aggregating those solutions together so that it's not just to solve a problem of proofreading or whatever. There's a kind of whole suite of things you can do together. So I think when the full implications of that are understood, it's going to make a fundamental change. I think by and large, LPO version 1 was a bit of a failure in the UK. Worked in the US because of the size of litigation. In the UK, I think it didn't work because law firms failed to comprehend how important it was for clients that they leaned that part of their work out and just made it too difficult. And the size of cases we had didn't have quite the glaring price opportunity they had in the US. And I think we'll see LPO 2 come through, and that will be a lot different, and I think will probably be a partnership with law firms.
Mark, what do you think on that?
So I think that there has been real change. Some of it is below the surface, but I'd agree with Stephen in the sense that we've still yet to see what's really coming. And my take on it is it's really that firms are experimenting, and most of them understand the need to experiment, but they're not putting the big bets down yet. And I think they will, and I think they have to. The LPO one is an interesting one because I think one of the most significant changes has been law firms starting to understand process and starting to really acknowledge that what they do in many areas, even more complex areas, is a process.
Yeah.
And yes, there's a degree of variation and complexity in there, but fundamentally, when you start understanding what you do as a business, as a process, it opens up lots of possibilities, like process re-engineering in Lean Six Sigma, like using technology, like starting to outsource some North Shore work.
Yeah, we've certainly seen a lot of that at Totum in the last 8 or 9 months. We've placed several people who focus on the whole process improvement, change management.
I think that's true. I think there's an acknowledgement that they need to do something, a lack of talent internally, understandably, to be able to do that. So I think there's been a cultural shift from this stuff all looks horrible, I want it to go away, to this stuff all looks horrible, but we're going to need to do something about it. But as Mark was saying, the impact of that is yet to, I think, come to fruition.
Do you get a sense that the market's now picked up considerably, and you hear stories of the Magic Circle firms going over to New Zealand and Australia to bring back the talent because they're overutilised over here, etc. Do you feel that there's any sense that because things are better, they're not going to do all the hard stuff?
So my view on that is things are definitely picking up, and a couple of the partners I've talked to in the last 2 weeks have talked about the competition for talent really speeding up again, and how if you find the right person, you need to be offering within a week, because they really are going in particular practice areas. I don't think it will slow the pace of change down. Personally, my view on this is very strongly what's happening now is structural change in the market, and I think the economy accelerated that. But fundamentally, it's driven by underlying change in the industry, its place in the maturity curve, and critically different client demands.
I agree 100%. I think if anything, actually, the upturn will drive further transformational change. So it's interesting that in any recession, you have a number of organisations that fail as the recession bites, but as many businesses fail by overtrading as the business comes back. And I think the fact that there is this scarcity of talent, and I think it's particularly at the associate level, which are the areas that firms, back in the global financial crisis were cutting or not investing in, will mean that we have to leverage that skill base at a much better level, and the only way you can do that is through transformational change. I think it's very difficult now to class firms as a group. I think the old convenient, their magic circle, their silver circle, whatever, firms are so completely different. So if you look at revenue and you look at you look at someone like an Adelshaw Goddard versus another firm, that other firm might have a huge international practice in a very niche area. So I think that whole area around firm demands, but what it does mean is there is a complexity on the supply side, and as many views about what the future may look like as there are partners in those different firms. Yet, if you ask clients, as Mark says, there's a very thin, narrow requirement from every client in every sector, and it's, I need more for less. I need the unitary cost of law to come down because demand's going up. I now live in this ridiculous regulatory world. So the impact of regulation is much worse. The game we're playing is much more complicated. Yet, the overall cost, I don't think the overall cost will ever come down. I think we'll see a gradual growth in the overall size of the market, but the individual components to deliver it have got to come down, and the only way of doing that is transformational change.
Stephen, Mark, thank you very much.